We've got a lot to talk about with the Cleveland Browns right now. Things just got a little more interesting out in Berea. Earlier today, Browns insider Mary Kay Cabot dropped a new report. And it's all about Sanders. Apparently, he did not return to practice today because of those back spasms that have been bothering him. Now, we've heard a little about this before, but Mary Kay gave us more insight into what's really going on behind the scenes. And honestly, this could tell us a lot about what's happening with this offense right now. So before we dive into my take, let's just set the table. Today, head coach Kevin Stefanski officially stepped down from play calling duties. Yep, you heard that right. And handed that responsibility over to offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. And listen, I've been saying this for weeks. This should have happened a long time ago. The Browns' offense has been flat, predictable, safe, and straight up painful to watch at times. They're 31st in total offense and 30th in scoring. That's just not cutting it. So at some point, something had to give. Now, I've always respected Stefanski. He's a smart guy, good coach. But sometimes, you've got to hand the keys to someone who can bring a new voice, a new energy. Especially when you've got young quarterbacks in the room, like Dillon Gabriel and Sanders. And that's exactly what Tommy Rees brings to the table. He's coming straight out of the college system where creativity, tempo, and spacing actually matter. So yeah, you're going to see a more dynamic feel to this offense. Rees is not going to live off those little 5-yard curls and hitches all day. No, this is about opening the field. Using those vertical concepts, creating mismatches, and letting your quarterbacks actually play football. Now, back to Sanders, because this is where things get interesting. Mary Kay said he didn't practice today, but she also made it clear this wasn't a panic situation. It's an extra practice day, a bonus day coming out of the bye week. The team's giving him more time to get healthy before they travel to New York to take on the Jets. So, yeah, technically there's still time for him to be ready. But the bigger question is, what's really going on with his back? Because let's be honest, a back spasm can mean a lot of different things. It can be something small, just tightness, or it can linger if not handled right. And the part that's got me scratching my head a little is this. Sanders hasn't even been getting heavy first-team reps lately. So if he's dealing with something physically, it probably didn't come from overuse. Which makes me wonder, was this more of a long-term thing? Something that flared up from earlier training? Or just bad timing? But regardless, it's not a terrible sign. We even saw Deion Sanders, Coach Prime himself, mention that his son's been getting treatment out in Colorado. So, we know it's real, and we know he's taking it seriously. He's not just sitting around. He's rehabbing, he's recovering, and he's making sure he's ready when that phone rings. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I think the Browns are walking a tightrope right now. Because if they don't find a spark soon, this season could slip away fast. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If they turn to Sanders sooner, I believe this team would have a better shot at saving the year. I know that's a strong take, but just look at what's happened so far. This offense has no identity. It's too cautious, too controlled, and that's exactly why the fan base is restless. You can feel it. The frustration, the here we go again energy in Cleveland. Fans are tired of waiting for this offense to wake up. And honestly, that's why this play calling switch feels like a breath of fresh air. It's not going to magically fix everything overnight. But it does send a message that they're willing to shake things up and stop pretending like everything's fine. And here I am, trying to do my best to gather all the information I can for you and share it with you. Please leave your likes and comments, and I would be grateful if you subscribed. Let's continue. Now for Dillon Gabriel. The spotlight's officially on him. Because with Rees calling plays, this is your shot to show what you're made of. You've been labeled the supercomputer, right? Well, now's the time to process the game, make smart reads, and show that arm talent we've been hearing about all offseason. Because if you can't stretch the field under this new system, fans are going to keep pounding the table for Sanders. That's just the reality. Cleveland fans are passionate, loyal, and they know when something's not working. So, what we're watching here, this next stretch of games, could decide how the rest of the year goes. If Rees injects some life into this offense and Gabriel plays with confidence, cool. Maybe the Browns can rally. But if the offense stays flat, it's going to be impossible to ignore the growing calls for Sanders to step in. And that's why I think this back injury, as minor as it might be, could actually gives Sanders a little bit of an advantage in the long run. It's keeping him out of harm's way, while the Browns figure out their offensive identity. He's watching, learning, staying patient. And when his time comes, he's going to walk in with a fresh system that's finally designed to push the ball vertically, not just dink and dunk all day. So yeah, I'm not panicking. If anything, I think we might be seeing the early stages of something shifting here. Stefanski letting go of the play calling tells me there's some self-awareness in that building. Reese coming in means they're willing to embrace new ideas. And Sanders sitting out right now. It might just mean they're making sure he's 100% before unleashing him in an offense that finally fits his strengths. But that's just my take. You guys know how I do. I tell it like it is. I want to hear from you. How do you feel about this whole situation? Do you think the Browns made the right move by giving Reese the headset? And what do you make of Sanders missing practice? Are you concerned, or do you think it's just precautionary? Now I've been saying for weeks that something big was brewing behind the scenes. You could just feel it. The way the front office has been maneuvering, the energy in Berea, it's all been leading to something. And now, Schefter's confirming it. He says the Browns aren't looking to move David Njoku, and honestly, I love hearing that. They're not shopping him, but they are calling around the league trying to add a young, quality player to this roster. That's the kind of energy I want to hear from a team that still believes it can win. But let's be honest. This news flips the whole conversation, because a lot of reports before this were saying the Browns were leaning towards selling pieces, maybe moving veterans, maybe looking to next year. But Schefter's update tells a different story. He says Cleveland's already completed 3 trades this past month, bringing in offensive tackle Cam Robinson, sending Joe Flacco off to Cincinnati, and swapping quarterbacks with Jacksonville. And yet, despite all that, most sources believe the Browns are still going to be aggressive before the deadline. Aggressive. That's the word I wanted to hear. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. If Njoku's staying put, what does that mean long term? Because remember, he's in a contract year. And that's the part that gives me pause. Does keeping him now mean they plan on re-signing him in the offseason? Or are they risking letting him walk for nothing? Because if you're keeping him, it better be because you think you can make a serious push right now. That's why this next move, whoever they go after, is going to tell us a lot about how the front office really views this team. Schefter mentioned that Cleveland's been exploring adding talent at key offensive positions, wide receiver and offensive line. And let's be real, those are the 2 biggest needs on this team. You fix the offense, you might actually unleash the full potential of this defense. Which, by the way, is still one of the most elite units in the league. So that brings us to the name that's now starting to buzz. Jalen Waddle. Yeah. Jalen Waddle. Schefter reported that the Dolphins are expected to ask for a 1+ in any potential deal, meaning they'd want a first-round pick plus additional compensation for Waddle. Now, I know some of you probably just groaned when you heard that. A first-rounder sounds steep, but hear me out. Waddle's not some aging vet or one-year rental. He's a 25-year-old receiver with back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and game-breaking speed. He's signed through 2028 on a 3-year, $85 million deal, and he's not even in the top 10 of highest-paid receivers. His teammate Tyreek Hill makes more than him. That's why I can't help but think, if you're the Browns and you believe this roster can contend, why wouldn't you make that call? Because Miami's situation right now is crumbling. They're sellers. They're basically in Titans mode, open for business, ready to ship players out. If Andrew Berry picks up that phone and gets even a whiff that Miami's serious about moving Waddle, I'd at least entertain the conversation. My mock deal. Give them the Jacksonville first-round pick, not our own, and throw in a 5th rounder. That's it. 1st and 5th for a top-tier receiver under contract for 4 more years. That's not crazy at all. But I'll be honest, it all depends on whether the Browns actually show they can win down the stretch. Because if you're going to go all in, you better have the pieces to compete right now. If we go out and get Waddle and then stumble the rest of the year, it's going to feel like a waste. But if you believe in this defense, and I do, then the real issue is fixing the offensive line. And that's where another name enters the picture. Jackson Powers Johnson. This one just hit the rumor mill. And it's interesting. The 22-year-old lineman from the Raiders, 2nd-round pick out of Oregon, is reportedly frustrated in Vegas. He wants to play center, but the Raiders have him stuck at guard, and he's not happy with the coaching staff or front office. And let's be honest, who would be? The Raiders are a mess right now. They just lost again, and that entire building feels like it's one more loss away from a complete teardown. Now, the word I'm hearing is that the Raiders might be open to moving Powers Johnson. And here's the crazy part. He wouldn't cost much. A 4th-round pick might get it done. I'd do that deal in a heartbeat. Because look, our offensive line is aging. Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller, Ethan Posich, all over 30, and multiple guys on contract years. You can't keep everyone. So, if you can bring in a 22-year-old with real upside, who can play both guard and center, that's a move that helps now, and in the future. I say, pick up the phone. Offer the 4th. Strengthen that line. Protect your quarterback, whoever it may be, and give this offense a fighting chance. Because with this defense, you're always just one solid offensive stretch away from becoming a serious playoff team. I'm telling you, if the Browns fix this offense, they can absolutely contend next season. So I want to hear from you guys. Browns fans, would you make the move? Would you pull the trigger on Jalen Waddle for a 1st and a 5th? Or would you rather go the safer route and add a young lineman like Jackson Powers Johnson for a 4th? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Type Y if you'd take that Waddle deal, and if you wouldn't. And let me know if you'd accept or decline that Powers Johnson move.